All right, welcome everyone. Today is February 13th, 2021. You should have already ran your audio and video setup, so we're not going to review this here. Make sure you're eliminating any distractions that you might have around you, so turn off your phones, lock your doors, tell everyone not to disturb you. And then I'm going to do a quick quality check to make sure everyone can hear me. So if you can hear me, if you can see the red record in the top left and you can see the slide that says quality check on your screen, please raise your hand. All right. So for today's class, we're going to be looking at three different things. We're going to, hopefully by the end of the class, you will be able to identify the methods that technology can help assist when it comes to the community of inquiry. We are going to define the three elements that make up the community of inquiry framework, and we're going to identify multiple ways that a community of inquiry framework can be implemented in a face-to-face classroom. So first, I want you to pause and think. The word inquiry was used in all of our learning objectives. What does the word inquiry mean to you, and how does it apply to the classroom? Raise your hand if you want to share. Go ahead, Caitlin.
When I think of inquiry, I think about just creating meaning based on discoveries or working through something to gain the knowledge rather than just reading the content.
Andrea, did you have anything to add to that?
I basically said the thing. I think some people are more inquisitive than others, but I think having that inquiry definitely helps them explore things, whether it be education or sports or anything else.
Great, yeah. So if we were to actually look at what the word inquiry means, according to John Dewey in our book provided by Garrison, inquiry is the process of creating knowledge. The community of inquiry framework allows the learning to happen through collaboration as well as with the implementation of technology. So if we think about inquiry and technology, a community of inquiries have improved leaps and bounds with the addition of technology. The ability to access information, collaborate, and flexibility has bolstered the effectiveness of what is possible through inquiry. So when we add in the technology piece, it kind of takes away most of the barriers that were associated with the community of inquiry. As to compared, whenever we do add it in, we're able to access information from anywhere. We're able to collaborate with just anyone at any time from any place, and obviously we have some flexibility. We don't have to one certain place at any certain time. We can do it at whatever time is convenient for the majority of the group members. So I want you to pause and reflect here. Using the chat box, identify which of the activities below that would be considered a technology that would work within the community of inquiry. So which of the following are a technology that help with the community of inquiry? And there's more than one. So type this into the chat box and let me know which ones you think. Yes, communicating with others becomes a lot easier with technology. Quizzes could be something that would be could be done using technology as well. Might have something that might be automatically graded, or it's just an easier way for you to collect that data on those quizzes. Gathering information, I think, would be a lot easier as well. The lesson planning and taking attendance, yeah, you could use technology, but technology is not really going to enhance that all too much. Obviously, with lesson planning, you're making a plan, whether it's on paper or on a Word doc, whatever it might be. The technology is not going to change how you actually deliver that lesson. Same with attendance. You could take attendance on paper, or you could take attendance by submitting something online, but you're still doing the same task. It's not going to change the outcome. Good. So the three main ideas of the cognitive of inquiry framework are the first one here is cognitive presence. So the process of how students engage with the content. So if content is presented in a certain way, student engagement might be a little bit higher or might be a little bit lower depending on how exactly it is presented. So cognitive presence depends on how the content is presented to them. The social presence, while students are engaged in content, how do they engage with peers? So the social aspect of the framework, the COI framework, depends on how students interact with one another. Is someone just working by themselves to complete a task, or is what's being designed by the teacher requiring the students to talk with another student to try to collaborate and solve some sort of issue, or do they need to gather more data from their peers in order to be able to complete the task? The social presence is the second topic in the COI framework. The third topic is the teacher's presence. So how a teacher designs a lesson to make sure students are engaged with the content. So this is the one thing that the teacher can actually control right then and there. So the teacher needs to come up with some sort of design for the lesson that is engaging for the students to get them to interact with the content and interact with their peers. But then during the lesson, the teacher can do different things to make sure that the lesson is actually going smoothly and students are actually engaged with the content right then and there at that particular time. So we're going to pause and reflect here using the text chat as I name each piece of the COI framework, which is the cognitive presence, the social presence, and teacher presence. I want you to list the correct action, and you can paraphrase, but list the correct action that goes with that. So if we're looking at the cognitive presence, which of the three on the right side relates to the cognitive presence? Correct, the content. So if we're looking at the social presence, which of the three on the right side connects with the social presence? Correct. We're trying to engage them with one another, and then obviously the teacher presence will have to relate to which one. How the teacher designs the lesson. Good. So if you just think about the words in the phrases, it'll help you kind of distinguish which is which. So cognitive presence always relates to the content. Social presence always relates to how you're engaging with one another, and then the teacher presence relates to how the teacher is designing the lesson. So now we're going to look at a case study here. I'm going to provide you guys with a Google Slide link. And with this link, you are going to go to the chat box to find it. And I will create breakout rooms for you as well. So you should be able to access the Google Doc from that link. On that Google Doc, what you're looking at is a case study, and it says, you're in a district that just had a professional development day on using the Community of Inquiry framework. A fellow teacher is still confused and has asked their department for some help. Using the table in Google Slides, fill in the table to help your fellow teachers. So if we just look at the table, you're going to have different columns and different rows. You have the three different pieces of the framework, and then you have a typical classroom, what it might look like, what the Community of Inquiry framework tells you to change, or what might change whenever you're looking at that specific piece of the framework, and then how technology could make that part of the lesson better. So take about 3 minutes here. I'm going to break you off into your breakout rooms, and I want everyone to join group number 1. So you should see those breakout rooms starting now. Go ahead and join group number 1, and in about 2-3 minutes I'll pull you back into the main room once you are finished. So for all the virtual listeners, you're still going to use that same Google Slides link, and there's a slide at the very bottom that says Virtual Learners page. You're going to complete that page for your activity for class today. So make sure you're going to that Google Slide link, going to that very slide, and you'll use that slide as your answer document for this class.
I don't think I can see.
That's okay.
All right, guys, I'm pulling you back into the main room here, and I will share your slides with you. So we were group 1. So does anyone want to quickly run through what you guys put down for some of your boxes here? Go ahead, Caitlin.
All right, so for the typical classroom, cognitive presence might look like instruction directly from teacher to students where they're listening, they're taking it in, they're taking notes. Social presence in a typical classroom might look like group work sometimes, either students picking groups or the teacher picking the groups for them. And then teacher presence in a typical classroom often looks like the sage on the stage for like the direct instruction.
Great. And just to save us a little bit of time here, looking at the community of inquiry framework, how we're going to change things. For the cognitive presence, we're looking at how well they're actually learning the information. For the social presence, we're looking at groups based on their interest. And for the teacher presence, we're looking at the guide on the slide, so the teacher's telling them what to do on the actual slide. And then for technology, obviously videos can help. For the social presence, we're looking at online classes, and then whether we have some sort of group chat or breakout rooms. And the teacher presence, we're looking at some sort of educational group and looking at group learning as well. So that was great. We'll switch back over to our slides here. So think about what we have learned today. So hopefully we can identify methods that technology can help assist communities of inquiry. We can define the 3 elements that make up the community of inquiry framework, and we can identify multiple ways that the community of inquiry framework can be implemented in a face-to-face classroom. So give me some sort of emoji on how you feel about those today. Great, great. And obviously we used our book today from Garrison. And just want to say thanks for joining class today. If you have any questions, make sure you're emailing me, and I will see you all next week. Thanks for coming.